What a remarkable story. And before we go, someone else who should be proud of all he's accomplished. Not many of us can claim a legacy, but Tony Parsons can. I'll let his colleagues at the NewsHour, who know him best, share memories of his 35 years, but I wanted to thank him for his many personal kindnesses. You know, everyone who sits in one of these chairs knows the power of the position and the responsibility that comes with it, and of course the enormous privilege of sharing part of your day with you. And I can tell you, Tony respected and loved every minute of it. And so now, I have the great honor to be the last in a long list over the years to say, stay with us for the NewsHour with Tony Parsons.
Tonight on the NewsHour.
A fire chief says he's been fired for trying to keep booze out of the fire hall. Charges against a North Van hockey trainer to be stayed. His lone accuser has suddenly died. And a thief steals a kettle from the Salvation Army at a time when donations are already down.
Live from global British Columbia, the NewsHour. Here's Tony Parsons.
Good evening, and we begin with a late developing story tonight. The now former fire chief in Squamish is making some shocking claims tonight, saying he's been terminated without cause for trying to prohibit the drinking of alcohol inside the fire hall. And Aaron MacArthur is live in our studio now with more about that. Aaron?
Tony, hard to believe in this day and age, but according to the chief, former chief now, Ray Surrett, members of the Squamish Fire Department are allowed to consume alcohol at the fire station after hours in what's known as the Firefighters Lounge, a serious safety issue Surrett was trying to address for the last year and a half. The Squamish Fire Department is a hybrid of professional firefighters, career men and women, as well as volunteers. There are 5 paid professionals on the force, as well as a volunteer pool of 60 who respond to more than 400 incidents every year. Everything from the massive fire at the townhome complex we saw this past weekend to dozens of motor vehicle collisions along the always dangerous Sea to Sky Highway. According to the chief, he was fired because of the alcohol policy, which can see members of the department go out on a call after drinking.
They're not on the clock per se. The career guys do not consume alcohol while they're there. This is an after-hour event where the lounge is, the space that has been allotted to the Firefighters Association is made available. And after practices, after call-outs, after hours, half the hour on a Friday evening, the members are welcome to come to that location at any time. The fridge is open. Consumption can happen, you know, it's on a personal basis. There's nobody bartending. The fridge is open. You consume as much or as little as you want. But during that period of time when they're in that environment, if the pager goes off, the member himself has to decide whether he wants to get on the fire truck and attend the call. And it does happen that after somebody's had a beer or 2 or more, that a call has come in and they've gotten on the vehicle and responded to an emergency.
Now, the District of Squamish City Council responded to our request for information as well this evening. Access to alcohol on city property is a violation of the district's health and safety policy. Excuse me, rather. Despite the fact the mayor knows about the issue, he says that it's not the reason for the termination.
We have 6 career firefighters and 50 to 60 paid on call, or otherwise known as volunteer firefighters in our employ. And fires, as you know, happen any time of the day or night, so it's entirely possible that a fire call would go out and that certain members of force would be consuming alcohol at that time. We have a very professional force, and I've never even heard of an incident where a firefighter under the influence of alcohol has tried to attend the scene, and if that ever were to happen, I'm sure that our management would not allow it to happen, so that is certainly not a concern of mine.
We have a crew in Squamish right now. We will have the very latest on this story at 11 o'clock on NewsHour Final. Tony.
All right, Aaron, thank you. A 1-year-old girl is in critical condition fighting for her life in hospital tonight. The baby was brought to the Strong Start Early Learning Center in Richmond yesterday by a caregiver. She was seemingly in good health, but when staff were unable to wake her up from a nap, she was rushed to hospital. Health officials say the baby's symptoms are consistent with shaken baby syndrome.
We are talking with the parents, we are talking with the staff of the center, and we are talking with the caregiver.
Is there a sense of the emotional state of the people that have been interviewed, the nanny, parents, the people at the Strong Start program?
I wouldn't be able to speak about the emotional state of them. I can speak as a parent and tell you that if this was my child, it would be absolutely devastating, as I'm sure all parents can feel for this story. You never want to, see your child get harmed, let alone feel that she or he has been harmed by anybody that you have left in their care.
Richmond RCMP say there is no immediate danger to other children in the program. At this point, there is no one in custody, but RCMP say many more interviews need to be done. A strange twist tonight in the sexual abuse case against a North Vancouver hockey trainer. Earlier this month, a young man came forward to accuse the trainer of sexual misconduct over several years in the early 90s. And police asked any other alleged victims to come forward, but none did. And now the lone accuser has suddenly died.
Well, we wanted to see if Duchenne is here today.
Not.
He's not? Do you have any comment?
No.
No?
No one at North Vancouver's Hockey Performance Center was willing to comment today regarding the allegations swirling around its founder, Duchenne Benicki.
So you've nothing to say at all?
2 weeks ago, Benicki was charged with 7 counts, including sexual assault against a player who was 10 years old at the time. The crimes allegedly began in 1991 and lasted 4 years.
And now a strange twist. The man who made the accusations is dead, and police say foul play is not involved. Crown Counsel says they will now need to stay the proceedings because without the accuser's testimony, there's not enough evidence to proceed.
Did he commit suicide?
I cannot say to that. We're confirming that homicide is not a factor.
We reached Benicki by phone today, and he said his lawyers told him not to comment. But on a Facebook support page set up for the former coach, he says, quote, "I have been charged with sex crimes against a minor. I devoted my entire life to work with athletes of all ages for their betterment. I did not commit the acts which I am accused of." His friends and supporters say they believe him.
First-class human being, very generous, very knowledgeable. Never a hint, a sniff, a whisper of anything like this. So, like I said, at the time and even now, I find the charges against him totally unbelievable.
Duchenne was a great trainer. He trained me from age 10 to 16, roughly the same time as the incidents occurred with the other fellow. I just baffled that it could be Duchenne.
North Vancouver RCMP were asking for any other alleged victims to come forward, but none did. Still, the RCMP says it stands by the case it put forward to Crown.
We are confident that the information we sent up was complete, and now we know that the charges were approved. So that says to us that the Crown believed there was enough evidence to go ahead with an investigation, with a trial.
My concern is that the charges against Duchenne have not been totally cleared, which I believe they should be. And I think that as a society, we owe it to Duchenne that he also has his opportunity to properly clear his name 100%.
But a fair hearing won't happen, as lawyers for the Crown are expected to appear in court Thursday to stay the charges.
The Salvation Army is reporting that one of its kettles was stolen last night in North Vancouver, and the theft couldn't have happened at a worse time. The Salvation Army says it's already $60,000 behind on its fundraising campaign for the season. And as Brian Coxford reports, many other charities are making similar claims that donations this holiday season are way down.
Thank you very much. Have a Merry Christmas.
It's a strategic location for the Salvation Army. It has 2 kettles outside the London drugstore in North Vancouver, and customers are generous in their giving. That generosity also caught the eye of a thief last night, someone who thought he was more important than the hundreds of less fortunate families who benefit from the donations.
The musician that was here actually told me that he was looking at his music, but he seen something dark go across outside the parking lot here. And when he did, he seen they quickly came in towards him because he was standing beside the bubble, and they quickly snapped it and ran. And when he ran, you seen him run towards a car, and he jumped in the car and sped off.
The fact that there was a getaway car suggests the thief, likely a young man dressed in a black hoodie, wasn't a street person. Nevertheless, his take, perhaps a few $100s, could have brought joy to a family this Christmas.
We use that money for our culinary arts program that we provide down on 12th and Lonsdale.
The Sally Ann's culinary art program provides job opportunities for 8 students a year in North Van. They also prepare nutritious meals that are sold daily for $3 to seniors and people on low incomes.
All from community participation.
The kettle program and everything else.
Absolutely. And purchasing these $3 meals.
Money collected at the kettles also funds hamper programs in North Van to buy new toys and food for needy families. This at a time when pleas for help from those families have increased 160%. Normally, the floor at the Sally Ann would be filled with gifts at this time, but donations on the street and from corporations are drastically down this Christmas.
We had forecasted over $300,000 to be able to supply the needs that the current programs that we run. And as of a day ago, we were $100,000. So services funds are down this year.
The Sally Ann is not the only charity facing tough times. The need at the Christmas Bureau has also increased as it seeks donations to help 110 families per day. It makes the theft of a kettle more hurtful for those helping out. So far, the villain hasn't been tracked down.
And if you'd like to find out more about donating to the Salvation Army, you can go to our website and click on links in the news. School-aged children in Surrey may have a shorter summer vacation in the coming years. Right now, the Surrey School District is considering a calendar change that, if approved, could see students heading back to class in mid-August. It's called a balanced calendar, with students getting more time off at other times of the year. And it's a model that would be closely watched by school districts throughout the province.
Final rehearsals continue at Dawn Christian Elementary, where students are getting ready for their Christmas concert. It's the last major event before kids are dismissed for Christmas holidays this week. But BC's largest school district may soon be singing a different tune when it comes to school breaks. It's now seeking feedback on the idea of possibly rearranging school holidays, implementing something called a balanced year calendar.
The balanced calendar would take away the big chunk of time in the summer that is no school and kind of disperse that throughout the school years.
It would mean a shorter summer for students who would start school as early as August 15th. Students would then enjoy time off in October. Under the current system, critics say the 9 weeks over summer is simply too long and disruptive to students' learning, and better balancing those holidays over the entire year would limit long stretches of both in-session time and time off. Right now, there are only 2 schools in the entire province that have gone to a balanced year calendar, one in Maple Ridge, the other in New Westminster. But the Surrey School Board is quick to point out that it's only exploring the idea right now, and no firm decisions have been made yet.
We hope that people approach it as an opportunity for discussion and not something that they have to fear or that there's an agenda. It's really an opportunity to invite discussion about the concept.
The local teachers union isn't convinced. It's currently seeking input from its members, but it calls it a significant change that could impact such things as school sports, summer school, child daycare for parents, not to mention it would be difficult to teach in classrooms not meant to house students in the heat of summer.
The jury's still out on this. We've looked at some of the research, and I think reviews are mixed. We know that when there is a break and a startup, that's always a disruption, so we'll need to talk to teachers about how those transitions would affect them if this plan was to go ahead.
For most parents, toying with the traditional school year is pretty much a non-starter.
We like the regular school system that we're in already. The kids know August is still summer, and what are we supposed to do in October for holidays?
I don't think it's the best thing for the kids. I think in August the kids are still wanting to play and enjoy the weather. I don't think they'll be able to focus in the classroom when it's warm outside.
If you're in school in August, September, and then you have a break in October, that's a huge disruption to their learning paths.
Following consultations that kick off next month, the Surrey School Board says any changes wouldn't be implemented until the start of the 2011 school year at the absolute earliest.
Well, Tony, I think you did a great job of the first package.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you.
A pro, as always.
Thank you.
Yes, and
You
Wayne,
can stay
it is...
if you like.
Absolutely. Wayne, it is a little strange, though.
It's very strange, yeah, and we're slowly getting used to it, Tony, but and we certainly will at 7 o'clock, I guess. But one of the things I just wanted to mention that when we were always going on our road shows, and even if I just go to the grocery store, people will come up and say, "Hey, you know, you guys, you seem to get along all right." And my answer always is, well, because we genuinely like each other, and genuinely we're friends, and that certainly helps when you go to work every day.
That's true.
I call them my boys. They're my boys.
There's a bad boy right there.
Well, first of all, I want to say,
right
Tony,
here, absolutely.
you make some nice selections in clothes, because you gave me this jacket like 1995, and I'm still wearing it.
I remember that jacket. Yeah.
And I want to apologize for all the footprints on your coattails. They've been mine.
That's kind.
Thank you very much. It's been a privilege.
Well,
But you know what? We're going to take a look at Tony's illustrious career and a little bit about his life as well after this break.
and I've been sentenced to 10 years of hard piano polishing. There you go.
That was really
Was that
good? Tony Parsons is retiring from Global BC.
Is that allowed?
Oh, how sad. We'll miss him. It's very sad. I feel like I grew up with him.
I think he's been an icon in the BC market for years.
I can't believe he's retiring so young. He's been a great staple on the station, and yeah, he'll be missed.
Good luck, Tony. Welcome back to the News Hour, Tony's last News Hour. He has anchored our 6 o'clock newscast for more than 3 decades. He's supported charities, too many to mention. He has won numerous awards, including a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Jack Webster Foundation and a place in the Canadian Broadcast Hall of Fame. Now, I know Tony probably won't like the phrase end of an era, but it is. So we had to put together a look at his outstanding career and a few things you might not know about the anchor you've been watching all these years.
Tony, could you come to the set now? It's time to go.
All right.
Every night, Brian Smalley, our floor director, calls Tony Parsons to the set.
There you go.
Thank you.
It's a little joke between the two of them, and it's been that way for years. But today is very different because this is Tony's last news hour.
Last one.
How are you holding up
I'm okay.
so far?
Don't say anything sad or gloomy, or a grown man will cry on live television.
Gentlemen, we haven't really...
34 years, 7 premiers, 8 prime ministers, and it all comes down to this. The most watched and trusted face in the province is leaving the big chair at Global BC.
No, look at this. The fruits of Johnny.
But before he goes, he sat down with me for lunch and a frank discussion about Tony the news anchor, whom everyone knows, and Tony the man, who is a very private person and shy, but obviously not too shy to choose a very public career.
I don't know what I would have done if I didn't do what I do now. I wanted to be a lawyer originally, but I got steered into being a journalist.
Tony Parsonage was born in England just as World War II was heating up. His British father was very strict and away a lot. His Italian mother raised their 6 children, mostly on her own. They moved to small-town Ontario after the war, and that's where Tony got a radio job and his new last name, Parsons, from a boss who liked short names. His dad, though, wasn't happy about Tony's choice of career.
Toward the end of his life, we became friends again. And he never admitted to me that he thought I was successful in what I did because he didn't think it was a job, because I didn't use my hands.
This is the News Hour.
But his job was very real to viewers of the News Hour.
Here is Tony Parsons.
Good evening, BC teachers.
Tony came on board in 1975 as the newscast was gathering steam and viewers on its climb to #1. BCTV was the new kid on the block in 1960. The #1 newscast when the station went on the air was CBS News with Walter Cronkite.
The flash, apparently official, President Kennedy died at 1 p.m.
Central Standard Time.
Yes, British Columbians turned to CBS at supper time. No one else, including BCTV, came close for obvious reasons.
So if there's an item that you'd like to know more about, please call us at Channel 8 TV News.
The News Hour with Tony Parsons.
But 15 years later, the station that put pictures first went after original stories and always went for the latest technology, found the anchor that British Columbians wanted to watch.
The News Hour with Tony Parsons.
Tony had two things. One was he had an excellent voice and a good announcing capability. But he also had a calmness, a demeanor that commanded attention.
And the most meaningful news you can get. Well, it's all over. It's been one long party here for the past
Expo might have been over, but Tony's career just kept right on going. He had one of the best jobs in broadcasting, making very good money in a province he loved.
I'm Tony Parsons.
But he realized one night crossing the Lions Gate Bridge that he wasn't happy. Nothing mattered. Something was wrong. And eventually, he spoke to his doctor.
And they asked the inevitable question, have you ever thought about committing suicide? Well, I had. Yeah,
really,
yeah,
Tony?
Yeah, I had. As odd as that may sound, you think, if I'm not enjoying what I've got now, then there's no point in going on. Okay.
Fortunately, Tony pulled out of his depression and started to enjoy life again. And of course, his dog Charlie helped.
Can you move just a little bit?
But while his life on the air was very orderly, his life off the air, not so neat. In fact, he calls his former self a cad.
I've had multiple marriages, and sometimes I was the one to blame, and I can only say that I think I could be a very difficult person to live with, because I'm moody and I withdraw. I'm a very inward kind of person, and I think that worked against me over time in relationships. I'm fortunate now that I'm in one that, nothing can possibly break down.
You said in the book that he was a cad. Oh, yes. Yes, I heard about that. He's not a cad. He's not. He's a lovely, lovely man.
Looking good.
Yes, Tony and his wife Tammy are having the time of their lives. Tammy's already retired. She managed golf courses for a living. And Tony's been semi-retired for a few years now. So what to do? How about buy into a Junior B hockey team, the Grandview Steelers?
Are you making money?
I never asked. I haven't got a check yet, so maybe that's a bad sign.
Over the years, we've known Tony as a golfer. But he did play hockey as a kid, calls himself an ankle skater. And he played for the station team, the BCTV Tubes, and one game he will never forget.
I scored a goal, a memorable goal it was, too.
Yeah.
The only unfortunate thing was it was on my own team.
Oh, and did we mention Tony's also bought into a restaurant, an Italian restaurant, of course. It's called the Poor Italian in East Vancouver.
Light seasoning on the grill here.
Chef Johnny Peaky, formerly of Umberto's, has just opened this restaurant, and already it's making a name for itself. Tony is excited about this new venture, but more than a little nostalgic about his life in the news.
Very good. Looks delicious. I'll miss, being with you guys every night at 6. I'll miss it enormously.
And we'll miss you.
Well, the time has come.
Another spectacular high-speed.
Thanks to everyone who's been so loyal over the years.
Prime Minister?
I don't think there's a better, more fun thing to do than what you and I do. I just, I love what I do. I look forward every day to the 6 o'clock show, and I thoroughly enjoy it.
There he is.
I think I was so lucky.
Thank you, Bernie. That's tonight's News Hour. Good night.
Such a handsome man. Now, we have talked to people on the street, but if you would like to post your own message to Tony on our website, all you need to do is go to globaltvbc.com, and we will be back in just a moment.
I went to Squire, actually. I said, I have to give this speech. I have to speak for 8 to 10 minutes. Do you have any advice? And he said, yeah, why don't you start out with something like, does this gown make me look fat?
What is it about him as an anchor?
Honest.
seems honest. Seems like he's telling us what's true.
You know, he's very forthright, and yet he has a soft approach, which is nice.
He's kind of like the Walter Cronkite for Canada. Yes, I trust Tony and look up to him and admire him.
I guess he's warm and friendly, and he's just sort of part of the living room. You know, you come in, you turn the TV on, and there he is.
I just wondered if you would like to... Tony, that guy doesn't care.
Triumph has risen out of tragedy in an East Vancouver neighborhood. More than a decade ago, 2 elderly women were murdered during a home invasion. Vowing not to let the crime consume the community, residents decided to take back their streets, creating a Christmas tradition that's grown every year and is now helping others. Robin Stickley reports.
Hazard pay?
It's late in the afternoon on Trinity Street in East Vancouver, and around here that means it's almost showtime. Last-minute touch-ups are being made in preparation for another night of crowds, people who will come and walk the streets to ooh and ah.
And there's a lot of people coming around, and, you know, they take a picture, I like it, you know.
We've seen the light display.
Yes, yeah.
And you cannot miss it. It's pretty amazing, actually.
This year marks the 11th season for the Festival of Lights here on Trinity Street. And while all of these displays put a lot of smiles on a lot of people's faces, the Christmas tradition actually has its roots in tragedy. A situation that rocked this neighborhood to its core, but ultimately brought all of the people here together.
It started after a home invasion in the neighborhood, a fatal home invasion in which 2 longtime residents died. And neighbors came together and decided they really wanted to take back their community and feel safe on their streets.
In 1999, Nora Davis and Martha Elliott, senior citizens who were longtime residents here, were killed in separate home invasions. What started as a way to evoke change has grown from 2 blocks of lights to more than 5 blocks of elaborate holiday displays. And it has also evolved into a friendly competition. For a donation to a local charity, admirers can buy a ballot and vote for their favorite.
When people finish their voting, they can drop it off there, or they can drop it off at one of the designated neighborhoods.
Is it pretty competitive? Like the neighbors really get into it?
Oh, yes, they do. Yeah, oh, for sure. Yeah, people are putting up lights almost to the last minute sometimes, but...
Oh, it's a fabulous thing because we all get to walk up and down and see all the neighbors.
So it would seem the little festival designed by residents to bring people together and showcase the magic of this season is still doing exactly that, more than a decade later.
It's pretty amazing. Pretty cool.
An ooh and an awe.
Yeah, well, you ask her.
Ooh, awe.
What do you think? Do you like that one? I think it's an ooh. And maybe an awe.
All too often, the joy of Christmas is hampered with the stress of shopping. Well, in the true meaning of Christmas tonight, we have some gift ideas that truly keep on giving. Gifts that give twice, because, as Elaine Young reports, that's what it's really supposed to be all about, right?
Even with just a few shopping days left, you can still have fun crossing names off your Christmas list, especially if you're buying gifts at 10,000 Villages. It's guilt-free consumerism because everything here is fair trade.
So this is a garland from Bangladesh, and it's made out of woven palm leaves. So what they do is they harvest the palm leaf and hand dye it, and they soak the palm leaves in water to make them pliable, and then they fold them into these very intricate stars. A nose carved out of shashan wood, and it's just to hold your glasses. So where is this made? It's made in India.
Fair trade means all of these artisans from 36 developing countries are getting a fair wage for their work. And whether they're coffee farmers in Central America or jewelers in India, 10,000 Villages pays them in full before the products even get to the store shelves. The nonprofit also relies mostly on volunteers to staff their stores, so consumers are getting good value.
A lot of customers come here at Christmas because they're tired of just giving stuff. They want to give something with meaning. So a lot of customers come here knowing that their purchase really is making a difference.
Consumers are tightening their wallets because of the recession. But when it comes to charitable giving, it appears Canadians are more like Scrooge. Comparing percentages of income, we donate less than half of what Americans do. However, one of the world's biggest charities says even $10 can make a huge difference.
So you can say, you know what, I know my great aunt doesn't need
yet another teapot this year, tea cozy. But she really cares about the world, so it's a great way to give back.
So instead of an actual gift in a box, there are gifts of magic. $25 will provide HIV tests for 20 women so they won't unknowingly pass on the virus to their babies.
We have here School in a Box.
For $280, the School in a Box can help 80 students and their teachers set up a complete classroom. And then there are gifts of play. One of the most popular, a soccer ball and pump.
What people love about Gifts of Magic is you're actually, when you buy a bicycle gift of magic, you're buying a bicycle and it's being shipped to someone.
And you get to give the gift that gives twice.
You come to work every day and you're like, wow, I sold a ton of stuff, but I also let a ton of people send their kids to school today or eat 3 meals a day. And, when you meet these artisans and you see their stories and how humbled they are, and, it's so amazing. The little work that I'm doing every day is having a huge impact on their life. So, that just makes my day. Yeah.
They are out of control and taking over a town in BC's southern interior. Next on tonight's News Hour, what to do about the unwelcome guests in Grand Forks and how residents may be responsible for at least part of the problem.
Does the staff get along pretty good outside the set? It means that they're going to tell us if you don't. We hate each other. You don't get along just when you get on there.
One of the few times we're actually together. No, that's the beauty of the whole thing. We all like each other and we all get along.
Tony Parsons is retiring.
No.
Yes.
Oh, well, good for him.
Well, I remember Tony as a little child, right? Watching with my parents, and yeah, good for him. Yeah. Congratulations.
And anything you want to say to Tony?
Yeah, enjoy the beaches. Enjoy the sun. Have fun.
Well, I wish him all the best, and hopefully he has lots of time to enjoy being retired and going golfing, whatever he likes to do.
Hope his restaurant turns out good, and I'll go there and leave him a tip, because he probably needs it, eh?
Oh, he does, in a big way.
Yeah.
Residents of Grand Forks are divided on how to handle a growing problem in their community. What to do about an out-of-control deer population. The animals have all but taken over the town, and while some say they're a danger, others say the real problem is not the deer, it's the residents. Ann Drua explains.
Nestled between the Okanagan Valley and the Kootenays is the city of Grand Forks. Over 4,000 people live here, small compared to a big city, but these days residents are feeling overcrowded.
And you'd see the odd one migrate through. And ever since then, it's just become more and more and more and more and more, and it's getting worse and worse and worse.
Turns out the community of Grand Forks is being overrun by hundreds of deer. Over the last decade, the population has been increasing, but this year, it's exploded, and many people aren't happy about it.
They eat shrubs, as you've seen. They love cedar. I've seen them eating habanero peppers. They've eaten a number of things that deer are not supposed to eat, but anything succulent at a time when things are dry, and they eat it.
Some owners, however, are taking matters into their own hands, protecting their yards with special fencing.
If I've got vegetables and things like that, they do eat them. They did get my geraniums one year, which was a little annoying, but my yard is fenced now, so that keeps them out of where I don't want them in.
But as the deer frolic in playgrounds and cemeteries, they are also running into a different type of trouble. Up to 200 deer are killed each year within town limits, mostly by vehicles.
Between here and Beaverdale, there are 700 collisions, but in Grand Forks alone, there are 200 dead deer, not just collisions. A lot of the collisions are minor and people don't even report them.
Solutions aren't easy. The town is split on how to deal with the issue, but council says it's trying.
I don't see us getting rid of the deer altogether, but the idea is that we can find better ways of living in harmony with them in our community and reducing the carnage on the highway and increasing the safety. So if we can create a situation where we can keep the lid on the population, at the same time make it safer for the deer to move around, I think that's probably going to be the most that we can hope for.
In health news tonight, a new web-based tool may help doctors predict which stroke patients are at high risk for another stroke. Researchers studied the medical records of nearly 1,500 stroke patients, looking at how many had another stroke within 90 days. From that data, they developed a web tool based on patients' risk factors, like a history of mini strokes. Researchers found patients with 4 or more risk factors had a 40 times greater risk for suffering another stroke. Having this information will allow doctors to admit patients to specialized stroke treatment centers. Wayne will be here with a weather forecast after a break, so stay with us. No shortage of rain today on the Lower Mainland. Wayne?
That's right, Tony. Just sitting here thinking, I knew us both when we had dark hair. As we're proving in those clips.
Your memory isn't that long, sure.
Oh, there you go. Well, Tony, we not only is it wet today, but we have a wind warning posted for a number of areas: east, west, north Vancouver Island, coastal sections of the north and central coast, Queen Charlotte. Southeasterly winds, get this, to 100 kilometers an hour. That should develop by tomorrow morning. In the birthday book, Catherine Nasachuk of Powell River celebrates her 102nd. Congratulations to you. Well, there's a beautiful crane shot tonight. Let's check our numbers and see how we did today. 9 degrees our high, 6 our low. Normal, 6 and 1. 13 was the record, so we're a little ways from the... Oh, and a big hello to everybody who enjoys life, like Paul Wolf here. A photo sent in by his daughter, Carly. Not agile enough to do that anymore. Bellingham, 9 degrees, 6 in Nanaimo, 9 degrees in Comox this hour. Still cold in the north. Sunny breaks in Fort Nelson. We had some snow in Fort St. John and Prince George, light rain in Prince Rupert. Sunny breaks in Kamloops, Kelowna. We also had some snow in Cranbrook. And we have another system coming in off the Pacific that's laden with moisture and, as mentioned, high winds. Queen Charlotte's and the north coast. Peace River country, look at these wind chill factors. Minus 25, minus 25, minus 30, but lots of sunshine. And you warm up on Friday to freezing. Got some rain for you in Whitehorse. Haven't seen that for a while. As you get to 2 degrees as your overnight low, which will be higher than your daytime high, if you follow me. It's just going to get colder as the day goes on. Windy and wet tonight on the north coast. Those southeasterly winds are going to be blowing, and cools down to 3 degrees on Friday. Still more rain, though. Fog for the Caribou tonight. Mix of sun and cloud for tomorrow, and then a cloudy day, and 2 degrees will be your high by the time you hit Friday. Beautiful day tomorrow in the Kootenay country after flurries tonight, and more flurries expected on Friday. We got flurries tonight in the Okanagan, some sunny breaks for you tomorrow, and then you got a real mix of rain and snow as you get up to 4 degrees as your daytime high. In Whistler, in the village, you're going to get some wet snow. I got to stay focused, Tony. I have to stay focused. We got wet snow for you tonight, and then showers tomorrow and showers on Friday with 5 degrees. Vancouver Island, southeasterly winds 40 to 60. Very windy on the north end of the island, especially. Around these parts, well, we got wind tonight with some showers. The rain hits tomorrow afternoon. 9 degrees are high. More rain on Friday. Look at Saturday, though. You might see the sun. And then a rainy Sunday with a high of 8 degrees. Across the Great Land, Alberta, beautiful day tomorrow, and they're above freezing for the first time in a long time. Sunshine for Toronto, for Ottawa, for Montreal, but minus 13 in Ottawa. Weather window time, and let's go to the Okanagan. Oh, you want cold. Kathy Girding of Kelowna sends us this shot. Frozen sprinkler. Thank you, Kathy. You'd like to enter our world-famous contest? Send your photos to either one of these addresses, and every Friday, we'll pick a winner of the week. We'll hand out some global prizes and a $200 gift card to ABC Country Restaurants. For the last time, back to you, Tony.
And I thank you, Wayne. Thank you very much. Squire and Sports coming up after we take a break.
One of the questions is, how can Mr. Cheney handle this? Can he head off the Democratic protectionists and make this worthwhile?
I remember waiting for him in 2001 to tell me I was premier. I was disappointed when he told me in '96 I wasn't. So, but he's always been there. He's a constant, calming, sort of steady voice of, the world we live in. He's one of the people that actually, tries to keep us all in touch with what's taking place around us.
Hockey now, the rest of sports. Here's Squire.
For you, I won't say any words wrong this time.
Good,
this is the one time.
Oh,
here we go.
Watch this, folks.
All right. The Canucks are going with a lineup change. You thought we were the only ones going with a lineup change. The Canucks are going with a lineup change tonight against Anaheim, even though the most recent lineup beat LA, which is the best team in the Western Conference, point-wise. The change is being made to make the Canucks tougher. So Kyle Wellwood is out. Darcy Hordichuk is in. The Ducks, the team the Canucks are playing tonight, are actually the worst team in the Western Conference right now, but they did beat Vancouver earlier this year 7-2, and they always seem to give the Canucks problems. Now, as far as Wellwood is concerned, he is clearly once again in Alain Vigneault's doghouse.
Well, for whatever reason, I mean, in Kyle's case, after having a good second half last year, and a good summer and a good training camp, he hasn't been able to materialize that into a good start. So basically, for me, at the end of the day, I've got to go with what I feel are the best players, and we'll see what happens with him. There's still a lot of hockey to be played.
Now, tomorrow we will know if the UFC will get the green light to hold fight cards in Vancouver. Council will vote on the matter in the morning after receiving a rather favorable report on professional mixed martial arts today. If the vote is yes, the UFC will likely aim for holding something at GM Place next June or July. Don't be surprised, though, if the city tries to slap a tax on buying a ticket for a UFC event at GM Place just to make a little extra money off allowing MMA in Vancouver. Team Canada for this year's World Junior Tournament, which is being held in Saskatchewan, is going to have 3 BC boys on it, including one of its goalies.
He goes over onto the left side with the pass. Rebound in front. Oh, what a save!
For the last year and a half, North Vancouver's Martin Jones has stymied some of the best teams in the Western Hockey League as a starting goalie for the Calgary Hitmen. Now he will get the chance to shut down the rest of the world. Following a sleepless night in Saskatchewan, the good news came that he will be wearing the red and white as a member of Canada's 2010 World Junior Team.
I was a little tired. I didn't get too much sleep that night. I was up pretty early waiting to see if my phone was going to ring or not, and then I got the knock on the door. It was a pretty good feeling.
Jones will be joined by 2 other BC products. The first, Delta's Brandon McMillan. Normally a member of the Kelowna Rockets, he is all about pure speed. A strong two-way player with the ability to score or shut down the opposing team's top line. White Rock's Colton Tubert completes the trio. He is one of 6 returners from last year's gold medal winning team. The hulking blue liner from the Regina Pats will be expected to take on a bigger role this time around in both minutes played and leadership.
Last year I was kind of just one of the young guys, kind of still putting my foot in the door, but I think this year I can just stick to my game plan and play solid and be that go-to guy.
It doesn't really hit me yet. Especially in Canada, it's going to be huge. They got a big building there in Saskatoon, and with all the fan support that they get, it's going to be a really good feeling. It's a dream come true, and this tournament's gotten so big over the years, and you watch it growing up every year. It's a huge part of the Christmas tradition, and just to be a part of it now, and it's huge, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, it didn't end quite the way he wanted, but before the last few months of 2009, the first decade of the 21st century belonged to Tiger Woods. Today, he was named the Associated Press's Athlete of the Decade. He won 64 tournaments worldwide from 2000 to 2009, overcame swing changes and a knee injury. He also provided golf with memorable moments like this one, the shot of the decade, I would think you'd have to say, at the Masters. And Nike appreciated the fact that the logo sat there for a few seconds before falling in the cup. He brought in more money and more exposure than ever before. Second in the voting was Lance Armstrong. Third was Roger Federer. Now, of course, this was a decade that Tiger Woods went chasing down the well-known feats of other legends of sports. Here's a reminder of the milestones Tiger is pursuing. Jack Nicklaus's 18 major titles, Sam Snead's 82 PGA wins, and Wilt Chamberlain's claim that he had 20,000 women. Well, it's now official. The Toronto Blue Jays, as part of a 4-team trade, sent pitcher Roy Halladay to the Philadelphia Phillies for 3 prospects. Halladay was a Jay for over 10 years, winning the Cy Young Award in 2003.
I'd like to start, first of all, by thanking everybody in Toronto, the fans, the organization, the people. It's been a big part of my life and something I'll never forget. I enjoyed my time there. I'm also extremely excited about a new chapter and having this opportunity to be part of such a great organization.
Now, part of this deal had Cliff Lee going from Philadelphia to the Mariners. The Mariners get a great pitcher in Cliff Lee. One of the minor leaguers Seattle sent to Philadelphia is a kid from BC, Tyson Gillies, an outfielder who played for the Langley Blaze. There you go.
All right, thank you very much. Look at tonight's money numbers now. Look at him.
Well,
He's in his
first of all,
tuxedo for the
yes.
proceedings. This, of course, is Jack, and he leaves when I leave. It's about 5 minutes from now, as a matter of fact. I just want to say to you, first of all, Deb, that what you did tonight was flattering, a little bit embarrassing, but I love you for it because it looked as if you took great care of it, so thank you very much. Great jacket.
Yeah, it's yours. Thanks for that.
No, I remember that jacket, and it's 35 years old.
I washed it in 2003.
And
That's
you?
good.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. It's been years of great fun. My extended family gathered here. My wife Tammy was here tonight to see the proceedings. God, don't cry, please.
I have a Kleenex.
There you go.
Just in case.
It's been one heck of a ride. It's been 35 plus years. I've enjoyed every minute of it. I leave with great sorrow because I've enjoyed this particular hour every night. Has been such a great joy. You know, I work with some great people, Pamela, Bill, et cetera, but the last few years with you guys has been exceptional, and I want you to know that I'm going to miss you. Again, Deb, your piece, I just want everyone else to know that the hair I had in those days, it's for sale on eBay. Just in case you want to get a heads up on a career in this particular field, because it's, you know, did it look good, didn't it?
It looked great. Yeah, it was great hair. Great hair.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Yes.
a toast to Tony Parsons.
And most of all to our viewers, thank you for so many years. Thank you.